I'm Shelley McKinley. I'm the head of technology and corporate responsibility at Microsoft.
What is the job of the head of the technology and responsible group at Microsoft?
So the group is really all about using technology for good. Part of our mission to empower every person and organization on the planet to achieve more means that every person and every organization. And so we're focused on ensuring no one is left behind. We work in the areas of accessibility, environmental sustainability, broadband connectivity, criminal justice reform, and artificial intelligence ethics.
So AI is, I think, one of the most important topics right now in the IT field. It's taking over anywhere, right?
It's basically taking over all of my time, that's for sure. It is the number one topic that I focus on a daily basis.
And I think it will completely change the way how we interact with our computers, our IT, and will have also a big impact on our private and work life. Do you address this type of questions also?
Yeah, absolutely. So when I think about artificial intelligence and the work that I do, it's really very much about being a game changer. How can we take artificial intelligence and ensure that we can use it to drive positive societal outcomes in key focus areas against which we need to make progress? We also have to make sure that when we're developing and deploying artificial intelligence that we're doing that ethically to ensure, again, that everybody is brought along and everybody is empowered to do more and be their best self.
I think that's one of the big questions on how ethical is AI. Some people say it's for good, some say it's for bad. Microsoft has created 6 principles of AI. Can you tell us something about that?
Sure. Like many of the technology companies, we articulated ethical principles for AI. There are 6 principles. It's about fairness, safety and reliability, privacy and security, inclusiveness, transparency, and accountability. And I think all the principles are very important. One principle that always stands out to me is really the idea of inclusiveness, because I think that does drive so many things. When you develop artificial intelligence, you need to ensure that it's not developed only by a group of homogenous people, that in fact there are multiple kinds of people that are involved. And that would be people with disabilities, people with different ethnic backgrounds, different religions. So technology in itself isn't good or bad. So it's not the question of what can technology do, it's the question of what should technology do. And that's what we're focused on thinking about and implementing in the way we do business at Microsoft.
Yeah, I saw a video from a conference last year where you attended and gave a track there. And you all talked about inclusiveness and the view on the development team. I think was a very interesting aspect, because we don't have only to make the algorithms transparent or unbiased, but to have a development team which is diverse maybe really help.
Yeah, it's definitely one of the key ways you can also make the algorithm unbiased, is to have a diverse development team. Everyone brings a unique perspective, and to serve the planet, in some ways you need to represent the planet as you're developing the technology.
Are you actively looking, when you're creating at Microsoft development teams, to get them a diverse structure?
It definitely is one of the principles that we're following when we develop artificial intelligence or any technology, is how do we ensure that we get more diversity? It's a problem that all technology companies grapple with, given where they sit. How do you ensure that you include people from different areas and different backgrounds? So something that we're very keenly aware of and working, as we've articulated in these principles, to address.
I think your development teams are already quite diverse because they're spread all over the world, right?
Some of them are, yes, for sure. Some of them are, but definitely engineering is a field that, for example, struggles to bring in women. And so how can we ensure that we get enough women in the process to make sure that artificial intelligence empowers women, and that women also empower artificial intelligence? That you could say the same about any category of people. How do you ensure that when you're looking at the development process, that you bring in those opinions? And so it is one key thing that we're focused on artificial intelligence particularly.
You and your group are actively working on AI for Good. Can you give us a short overview of this program?
Sure. Yeah. So AI for Good has 3 pillars. It's AI for Earth, AI for accessibility, and AI for humanitarian action. AI for Earth is a program that's focused at addressing key environmental challenges, as it sounds, protecting the planet. So we have, it's basically a grant program. It's a 5-year, $50 million commitment. And when I say 5 years and $50 million, to me, the most important part of that isn't the $50 million, it's the 5 years. That is really like a geological age in terms of technology. So when you think about the length of the program and the rate of pace of change of technology, it's actually a really long time for a technology company to commit to something like this. So basically the program focuses at putting artificial intelligence in the hands of innovators that are working at the intersection of environmental sustainability and technology. To really use AI to be able to accelerate progress against key challenges in water, biodiversity, climate, and agriculture are the 4 areas that we're really focused on making progress against. AI for Accessibility, similarly, is a grant program aimed at empowering others with AI tools to make progress against key accessibility challenges. We're working on employment. If you know anything about the employment rate of people with disabilities, it's actually quite shocking. It's twice that of people without disabilities. So it's an area that we need to make significant progress against. And by using powerful tools like artificial intelligence, we think we can accelerate that progress. Also, modern life. Making sure that devices are smart and contextual and people are able to use them, and communications and connection, which is a huge issue for all kinds of communities with disabilities, ensuring that people who can't see can get the information that they need so they have the same information as everyone else. If you can't hear, getting the sign language or real-time captioning, these kind of things that really, so that basically can have the same information as your hearing friends have. And then finally, AI for Humanitarian Action, which is very focused on the nonprofit sector, a sector that is, like many, limited resources and big goals to accomplish. So using technology to really accelerate progress with the limited resources they have available is critical for us to do things like really try to meet the Sustainable Development Goals set out by the UN.
When I look at all the programs or all the partners that are working on topics like climate change, whatever, isn't it a little bit disturbing when you see that we not have only crazy people denying climate change, but also governments are starting to deny it and working against it? How do you deal with that one?
Well, it's definitely disappointing when people are denying climate change. We're focused on addressing climate change and addressing it in a rapid way. We've joined the We're Still In coalition. We have our own carbon tax at the company. So we charge $15 a metric ton for carbon emitting, for energy basically, is the key contributor to that. And we use that money to drive sustainability projects as well as certainly to be carbon neutral. We're very focused on moving from non-renewable to renewable sources of energy, and a carbon tax is something that really incentivizes the business units of the company to move in that direction.
So this is something like a sustainable program to reduce the carbon footprint of Microsoft?
That's right.
Yeah.
So we start first with our own data centers, our own operations, and how do we ensure that they're carbon neutral. We've been carbon neutral since 2012. The second step of that is really ensuring that you're renewable, that you're moving entirely to renewables, so you're not just purchasing RECs or offsets. We hit the 50% renewable energy target of our data centers. We hit that, I think, in 2016. Set a 60% goal by the end of this year that we will meet. And we, just a couple of weeks ago, announced a new target of 70% by 2022.
So when you have a project at Microsoft and the people have to calculate it, and not only calculate the person or the material, but also the carbon tax, what's their project maybe have an impact?
Sure, it's your travel has an impact. So that's really the biggest place where you have to buy carbon offsets is travel. So each person that travels, there's an additional cost for traveling, which is in order to make that carbon neutral. Energy is the biggest place for this. This is the biggest emitter of carbon. So definitely the $15 tax makes it very lucrative for our data center team to buy renewable energy instead of fossil fuels. So they don't pay a carbon tax if they're renewable. They pay a carbon tax on the emissions. So the incentive structure is in place to really accelerate that ramp toward buying 100% renewable energy for all of our operations. And our new campus that we're building in Redmond is 100% renewable energy campus, as well as we have water goals, water targets to get that to be completely, we call it water neutral, or we replace as much water as we use in kind of all of our water stressed regions.
So the answer of denying climate change is leading by example?
That is absolutely one way to do it, for sure, and that's what we're focused on doing. And also helping the rest of the world through our technology. Not only what can we do as Microsoft in our own footprint, which is some small amount of the energy, for example, that's used, but really how can we help our customers and partners around the world through the uses of our technology to help really minimize the use of natural resources and move to a carbon-free economy.
Yeah, that's what I want to ask. Do you have training programs or guidelines for companies who want to follow your example?
Yeah, well, using our different energy tools, our resource optimization tools, is certainly one important way in which our customers can become more energy efficient. So they can use Microsoft tools, machine learning to really help optimize what they're doing. We also freely share all of our learnings from all of our own efforts, and we talk to companies a lot who ask us about how we've done things like this.
Shelley, where's the landing page where we get all the information and can download this stuff? Do you have a central page?
Yes, we do. So there's several pages. Microsoft.com WAC-CSR is one of them. Certainly, if you just put in your search engine Microsoft AI for Earth, you'll come right to the Microsoft AI for Earth site. It's all linked off of those sites. There's an AI for Good site that everything is really linked off of. So you can get all kinds of information on the internet about all of our programs.
Okay. Shelley, thank you very much for taking the time, and a good travel home to Redmond.
Thanks so much for having me.